Top 10 Deadliest Wars in History. Though all wars risk lives on the front lines, some wars are remembered because they caused great suffering to entire nations. But what makes them stand out? Sheer loss of life or their lasting impact on nations? In today's video, we'll cover the top 10 deadliest wars in history. We'll look at how long they lasted, how many lives were lost, and who the key participants were. Wars like World War II and the Second Sino-Japanese War between China and Japan will be discussed. Let's dive in. 10. The Civil War of America. From 1861 to 1865, the United States was divided in one of its darkest chapters, the Civil War. On one side, the North, known as the Union, and on the other, the South, the Confederacy. What sparked it all? Mainly the issue of slavery and whether states should be able to make their own laws. Battles like Gettysburg and Antietam were especially brutal, and by the time it was over, around 620,000 lives were lost. It finally ended on April 9, 1865, when General Robert E. Lee of the Confederacy surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant. 9. The Chinese Civil War. Imagine China in the early 1900s, caught in a fierce struggle for power. On one side, you have the nationalists led by Chiang Kai-shek, and on the other, the communists led by Mao Zedong. From 1927 to 1949, these two forces clashed in a brutal fight for control over China's future, its government, and its land. This was the Chinese Civil War, a conflict that would shape the nation for decades to come. The conflict between the KMT and CCP had been brewing for years, but it officially began in 1927. After years of fighting, it ended in 1949 with the communists winning, leading to communist rule under Mao Zedong. The war reshaped China, and about 2 to 4 million people lost their lives. 8. The 30 Years' War. The 30 Years' War, spanning from 1618 to 1648, was a devastating conflict sparked by religious tension between Catholics and Protestants in the Holy Roman Empire. It spread across Europe, involving countries like Germany, France, Spain, Sweden, and the Netherlands. Key figures like Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden and Cardinal Richelieu of France played major roles. Adolphus with his military prowess and Richelieu supporting Protestant forces against the Catholic Habsburgs. The war left Europe in ruins, with an estimated 4.5 to 8 million lives lost. It finally came to an end with the Treaty of Westphalia, marking the close of religious wars in Europe. 7. Russian Civil War. Between 1917 and 1922, Russia was torn apart by the Russian Civil War. One key moment? The October Revolution of 1917, when the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, overthrew the provisional government and seized control of Russia. Lenin's leadership and bold strategies were key to the Bolsheviks' eventual victory. The war cost around 7 to 12 million lives. By 1922, the conflict finally ended, leading to the rise of the Soviet Union. 6th, Dungan Revolt. The Dungan Revolt was a major uprising in northwest China between 1862 and 1877. It was led by the Dungan ethnic group, mostly Muslim farmers and merchants, who had long suffered under Qing dynasty oppression. Led by Ma Hualong, the Dungan rebels fought to resist discrimination and unfair treatment. At one point, they even managed to capture several cities, threatening Qing authority. But despite their efforts, the rebellion was crushed with the help of local militias and Russian intervention. The war claimed an estimated 8 to 12 million lives. 5. The World War I. World War I, or the Great War, lasted from July 28, 1914 to November 11, 1918. It became one of the deadliest conflicts in history after Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated in June 1914. Major powers like Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire fought against the Allies, including France, Britain, Russia, and the US. The war claimed an estimated 15 to 20 million lives. Key figures included Kaiser Wilhelm II, King George V, and President Woodrow Wilson. The war ended with the signing of the armistice on November 11, 1918, leading to the redrawing of national borders and triggering major political and social shifts worldwide. Fourth Sino-Japanese War, the Second Sino-Japanese War, which went on from July 1937 to September 1945. It was one of the biggest and deadliest wars of the 20th century, with about 20 million people losing their lives. It all started with the Marco Polo Bridge incident, when Japanese forces and Chinese troops clashed near Beijing. On the Chinese side, you had Chiang Kai-shek leading the Republic of China and Mao Zedong, the head of the Communist Party. On the Japanese side, Emperor Hirohito was the figurehead, while General Hideki Tojo ran the military. The war finally came to an end in 1945, after Japan surrendered, following the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the Soviet Union joining in the fight. 3. Taiping Rebellion. The Taiping Rebellion, one of the deadliest civil wars in history, which took place in China from 1850 to 1864. It's estimated that around 20 to 30 million people died during this conflict. The rebellion was led by Hong Xiuquan, who believed he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ. His goal? To create a utopian society based on his version of Christianity. The Taiping rebels, calling themselves the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, fought to overthrow the Qing dynasty and establish a new order. In the end, the Qing dynasty crushed the rebellion with help from Western powers. 2. Mongol Conquest. The Mongol Conquest, led by Genghis Khan, was one of the biggest wars in history. In the early 1200s, Genghis Khan united the Mongol tribes and started conquering lands across Asia and the Middle East. He fought against the Jin dynasty, ruling northern China, the Khwarezmian Empire, located in present-day Iran, Iraq, and Central Asia, and other powerful empires. The Mongols took over China, Persia, and even reached Eastern Europe. After Genghis Khan died in 1227, his empire kept expanding. The war caused massive destruction, with an estimated 30 to 40 million people killed. 1. The World War II. World War II, one of the most defining events in history, lasted from 1939 to 1945. It all started when Nazi Germany invaded Poland on September 1st, 1939. That aggressive move led Britain and France to declare war on Germany, kicking off the war in Europe. Adolf Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany, played a key role in the conflict. His expansionist plans, like annexing Austria and invading Poland, sparked chaos across the globe. The war finally came to an end in 1945 after Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan surrendered, following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by the United States. In total, more than 70 million lives were lost. That's all. Which war do you find the deadliest? Share your thoughts in the comments section